great show per usual. The last 4 years, Florida averages a number 11 class versus number 16 for Miami. Yet Dan Mullen wins 76% of his games. Manny Diaz, 55 to 56% of his games. In 2021, he has experience, top 20 talent, and a quote-unquote Heisman quarterback. I don't know who he's referring to there, maybe Manny. In Cam's word, this is fireable.
It's hard to controvert that. All these things are things that we said. These are things that we and other people wrote, and you can look at national writers. You can look at Bruce Feldman, you can look at Dan Wolken, you can look at, The Athletic, you can look at Bud Elliott now at 247 Sports, looking at his blue chip ratio for team talent. You can look at the actual released Heisman odds before the season with Derek King in the top 5 for those rankings and odds and everything. You can look at all of those things that not just, me, a Miami alum who runs a Miami blog website, not just that I've written, that credentialed journalists around the college football landscape have clearly stated. So to have all of that and have that known and widely discussed before the season and not hitting and not having any of that bear itself out to be true on the field, not needing that metric of performance at all, it's hard to say that it's not fireable. And I wrote that in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Like, spoiler alert, sorry guys, I'm done with Manny Diaz. It's a matter of time. Because if you are the coach for Miami, you win that game, number one, or you're competitive, number two. And what we saw at the end of that game was not competitive. I'm not going to say that, in the fourth quarter, the team did quit, which also was not great. But no, this is not it. And you see things that have been issues are continuing to be issues. And again, I would love it, but I don't need a championship every year. This is not playing NCAA 14 on freshman difficulty, which y'all try to slander me when I play that game. I do not play on freshman. I play on Heisman. I'm just really good. Shut up. For one. For two, it doesn't have to be 98-0 and every national championship ever. But having Miami continue to be synonymous with mediocrity, continue to be synonymous with a program that does less with more talent than pretty much anybody else in the country is unacceptable. For losing games like this, it's unacceptable. And hey, Michigan State might be 8-9 win team, 10 win teams maybe. You know what I mean? I had an Outcast reference today. I probably did. I don't even know. But and it's Outcast with a K, by the way. The legendary hip hop group. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But I don't even need the team to be perfect. And Michigan State, they might be even a really good team at the end of this year. But if Miami's going to be a really good team, you don't get your doors blown off at home by Michigan State. And you're going to think to yourself, Cam, you're the one who said you were looking at the Michigan State game as one that might be tougher than most. That might be a game that could be a thorn in Miami's side. If you look at the games that I've referenced about Michigan State winning over the course of my 30, 35 years of sentient, college football fandom, it's few times and far between that they were blowouts. You know what I mean? It's like a last-second interception, a field goal, like Mark talked about, with the kicker doing the thing. That was a at the buzzer, at the gun field goal to barely get. But a tough game to be in that position. But that's like a one kick, one play thing, and that's how. Not no 3-4 touchdowns. I did never say that. I did never think that. And none of the games that I referenced, well, maybe one of the games where it got out of hand. But other than that, many of the games that I referenced over the course of this time, ever talking about the Michigan State game being more challenging, are one score at the end of the game type of scenarios, not 21-3 in the fourth quarter where they're literally calling whatever they want. And but I think it was the last touchdown. I had to tip my cap. Beautiful double move, because you know it's a 2-touchdown game at the time. You need the ball. So Tyreek Stevenson and all the corner, you know that they're going to jump on the stop route, on the curl. So you run a curl and go. He jumps it. The receiver goes on the go and is butt naked, wide open by 20 yards. It was the perfect time for the perfect play call. And I said, look, man, you got to give it up. And again, if you want to have another trope that we've talked about on here, and that I've written about clearly on stateoftheu.com, another new quarterback doing numbers when facing Miami. 18 for 31, not the greatest. 261 and 4 tutties and no interceptions for Peyton Thorne. Come on, bro. But yeah, I mean, it's just, how is it so easy for everybody else all the time against us? You know what I mean? It's infuriating. And having seen that, and especially what happened in the second half, where a Manny Diaz coached team has traditionally done their adjustments at halftime, come out stronger, and played and not quit. You have no adjustments of note. You have no really efficient performance of note. And y'all quit? That's all I need to see from you, Manny. It's a matter of time. Somebody else needs to be the guy. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whether it's 2023, whenever it is. Me, myself, personally, I'm counting down until we have a new coach, because it's not going to get any better than this.
I guess this is just piling on, but I will add to the Dan Mullen, Manny Diaz comparison that I can almost assuredly say that if you did the metrics on the opponents, that Dan Mullen's done it against a tougher schedule.
Oh, yeah. No, Miami continues to lose things that we shouldn't lose to. And again, even if you want to exclude Michigan State from that and say, hey, this is going to be a 9 or 10 win team this year, why are we not even being any kind of close to competitive? Again, against a decent team. Carolina last year, Alabama, the list grows, and it's not a good thing. And then you look up the road, and against tougher competition, they're either competing or winning. I mean, hell, you saw it went down to the wire with them in Alabama last weekend. And I mean, I don't like Florida, so I was kind of rooting for Alabama. But like that game was my dream scenario for Miami. You know, let it be competitive into the fourth quarter. Let it be a 1-touchdown game, even if they have the ball and they score at the end and it ends up being 2 touchdowns. Let it be a game. It was a joke halfway through the second quarter. No, Jordan Bowman, recruiting is not Miami's problem. Player development and coaching are the issues. You're correct. But if we continue to lose, recruiting is going to turn into a problem, which I do not want to have happen. So, do something.
So would you do a USC and pull the plug right now, or watch this play out?
If it were me, I'd pull the plug. If it were me, and I know that, okay, I'm looking at the path forward. This is not it. He's tried so many different things. He's lost so many games. If you're going back to the FIU game, remember it was like 0-6 after the bye week, or 0-5 until he won his first game after a bye as head coach. When you have extra time to prepare, so you should ostensibly be more ready, spry, give a couple extra days off, to have fresh legs and everything. Could never, like all these things. I don't see it. Now this engenders the conversation. There's been, things where people are saying that if Mario Cristobal were ever to leave Oregon, Miami and Alabama would be the two jobs that would give him pause to think about. Alabama, Volta, and Miami, he's an alum and a 2-time national championship player here. He's from here, went to Christopher Columbus High School and all these things, I make him say no. And y'all laughed, and y'all laughed, and y'all laughed when I wrote it. And I know that we profiled a whole bunch of people, but I said, let me profile this person because this is the guy that I authentically want. And I know y'all are going to not like it, but trust me, when I created the hashtag, Let's Be Jerks, and I profiled Lane Kiffin when he was Alabama's offensive coordinator to take over the Miami Hurricanes in 2015, y'all had all this stuff to say. Now you look at Lane at Ole Miss. You wouldn't want that here? You sure? Because I would. And again, you don't gotta like us. Let's be jerks. If they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile up. Shout out to 50. Shout out to Kanye. You quoted 50 saying that. Bro, come on. So those are guys at the top of my personal list. Now, are we able to afford them? Who knows? Am I going to make a run at them? Yeah. Am I going to have to call maybe some NFL alumni or maybe some people from, other alum from the U and say, hey, we need a couple $1 million to pay this buyout and, to augment, the salary for this coach, not in perpetuity, but for the length of their contract? Then I'm making those calls. But if it were me, with all due respect to Manny Diaz, I've seen this movie. I've seen how this ends. I'm not going to wait around until the end. If I were in charge, would be pulling the plug. Now, I know everybody hates Blake James. I know that everybody says, there's these, the constraints of the University of Miami. The first thing that I wanted to say is the University of Miami absolutely has money. So saying that they do not is just inauthentic. Take it as you will. The other thing I saw, people were trying to say, oh, well, we've only done the University of Miami, the med school or the School of Music and I am a proud alum of the Frost School of Music, and y'all don't never want to claim the goddamn School of Music, a top 3 non-conservatory school of music, one of the top 2 best jazz programs in America, next to the University of North Texas. Again, that's non-conservatory. Y'all never want to claim the Frost School of Music, but now you want to say that we're taking money away from athletics, and now you want to come over and talk about the School of Music? Go to hell. Go to hell. Because I've been here for 20-something years talking about the School of Music all the time. I was like, oh, that's not really a thing. But now we got a little bit of shine, right? Because we got some donation infrastructure and everything. And now you're saying that's why the football team is bad? Go to hell. Absolutely. But if it were me, the money constraints, lies, and I'm making the change. To Kevin Davis's super chat on the screen. First of all, thank you very much, Kevin Davis. The question is Hugh Freeze. Would I like him as our coach? An unequivocal no is my answer. Unqualified no. And if you don't know, go look it up. Absolutely not.